Assalamu alaikum everyone. So we have started the ischemic heart disease or the coronary artery diseases. In this video we will discuss the stable angina pectoris. So what is angina pectoris? It is a symptom complex caused by the transient myocardial ischemia because of imbalance between the oxygen supply of the myocardium and demand of oxygen for the myocardium. In short, we can say that there is reduced oxygen supply to the myocardium and increased demand of oxygen of myocardium. Let's talk about its pathogenesis. In the coronary arteries, there is a fixed atheromatous or the stable atheromatous plaque is present within the intima of the coronary artery. This plaque is fixed and there no acute changes can occur easily because of the thick fibrous capsule of the plaque. During the resting stage, this cannot cause any problem because the remaining blood which is passes through the narrow coronary artery is enough to supply the oxygen and it is enough to fulfill the demand of the oxygen of the myocardium. But when the person do the exercise or any exertional activity, there is a vasodilation, but this part is still fixed and it is still narrow. Now the oxygen demand of the myocardium is increased and the oxygen supply is compromised in this patient because of the exercise induces tachycardia. So there is more workload on the heart and decreased oxygen supply and decreased blood supply to the myocardium. Now the first change occur here is subendocardial myocardial ischemia. That is the part of the myocardium which is near to the endocardium is first affected because of the ischemia, and the tissue or the myocardium becomes non-viable. So this was the pathogenesis. Remember that during the resting stage, it does this basically the atherosclerotic plaque does not cause a problem during the resting stage, but it the oxygen supply is compromised only during the exertion or only during the exercise and causes this subendocardial myocardial ischemia. The most important point to be remembered here is that remember the rule as we have discussed it previously in the ECG section, that when there is decreased oxygen supply and decreased blood supply to the myocardium, the first area to be affected is subendocardial myocardium, which is near to the endocardium. And there is ST segment depression in the ECG interpretation because remember the rule that when the electrical activity moves towards the positive electrode, it shows the positive deflection of the QRS complex. But when there is electrical activity away from this electrode, it shows the negative deflection. Now look at this pattern, that in this case there is a subendocardial myocardial ischemia or the ischemia of myocardium which is near to the endocardium. So there is more influx of sodium and calcium into the dead part here in this case. So the electrical activity is here in this case moves away from the positive electrode. That's why there is ST segment depression in this case. Now as you can see here, that is this is QRS complex and there is ST segment depression here in this case, and this is the T wave. So this ST segment depression is because of subendocardial myocardial ischemia. Now come to the factors that can precipitate angina. The most common factors that can precipitate stable angina are physical exertion, because the physical exertion induces the tachycardia, increases the heart rate. So increased workload on the heart can precipitate the angina because of decreased oxygen supply and compromised blood supply to that area. The next factor, the common factor, is cold exposure. When the person becomes more exposure to the cold and has already atheromatous plaques in the coronary arteries, so more cold exposure causes vasoconstriction in the body. So increased vasoconstriction increases the total peripheral resistance. Increase in the total peripheral resistance increases the afterload on the heart, so ultimately increases the workload on the heart. So increased oxygen demand. The other causes are heavy meals. When the patient takes the heavy meal, there is more blood supply to the gastrointestinal tract and less blood supply to the myocardium or less blood supply to the heart. So in this way there is increased oxygen oxygen demand but decrease oxygen supply to the heart. And the intense emotions, there is increased sympathetic discharge during the emotional states. So increased emotions increases the sympathetic activity, and it induces the tachycardia, so increased workload on the heart. The rare factors which can precipitate the stable angina are nocturnal angina. In the nocturnal angina means that angina during the sleep or during the night, because of the vivid dreams or because of the nightmares during the sleep, there is more sympathetic discharge. So increased workload on the heart, it can precipitate the stable angina very rarely. The other is decubitus angina. This is basically angina when the patient lie flat. Because of the flat lying of the patient, there is more venous return. But due to more venous return, increases the preload. Due to increased preload, increases the workload on the heart, and it induces the ischemia of the myocardium, and stable angina occurs in these patients. So these are the various factors which can precipitate angina. Now come to the clinical features. The patient basically feels the chest discomfort or substernal pressure sensation, which is basically on the exertional activities, as we have discussed previously, that on exertion, on cold exposure, on heavy meals and intense emotions. So it lasts less than 5 to 15 minutes. It is described by the patient as heaviness or pressure sensation or squeezing or tightness on the chest. Sometimes patient not complain of the patient does not complain about the pain, but patient complain is heaviness and pressure sensation or squeezing sensation. So the pain or something, the heaviness is dull and gradual in onset, and it may radiate to the arm or the jaw or the epigastrium of the patient. So it is because of the same dermatome of the heart and the arm and the neck. So it is relieved by taking the rest, because as we know that during the resting stage there is reduced workload on the heart due to decreased workload or reduced workload. So the oxygen demand during the resting stage is decreased. So these are the clinical features. The most important features to be remembered are: it is chest discomfort or substernal pressure exaggerated by exertion and relieved by the rest. So this is stable angina pectoris. Now come to the investigations which doctor should done for the stable angina, which includes: the first and the most important part is history and examination. The history of the risk factor is always present, like hypertension, smoking history, diabetes mellitus, sedentary lifestyle, and increased fatty foods. And the examination is most of the time normal in these patients. The next step is to do the resting ECG. This is the best initial test for to check the stable angina in these patients. But in most of the cases, almost all of the cases, the resting ECG is normal, as we know that during the resting stage decreased workload on the heart and there is decreased oxygen demand. So the resting ECG in most of the cases is normal, but in some cases there is ST segment depression because of subendocardial myocardial ischemia, ST segment depression, and also T wave inversion, which shows the ischemia. But in most of the cases, this resting ECG is normal. If the resting ECG is normal, the next tests are stress tests or exercise test. Stress test. These stress tests are exercise ECG, exercise or dipyranamol myocardial perfusion scan, and exercise or dobutamine echocardiogram. So the exercise ECG test, this test involves recording the ECG before, during, and after exercise on the treadmill. Treadmill is given to the patient, and the ECG is recorded during the exercise. As we know that on during the exercise there is tachycardia, so increased oxygen demand but reduced oxygen supply in these patients or to the myocardium. So basically the ST segment is depressed on the ECG in the exercise ECG. So if the ST segment is depressed or the T wave is inverted, then this exercise ECG test is positive. If this test or the exercise ECG test is positive, then the patient should undergo the cardiac catheterization. If the exercise ECG test is uncertain and equivocal, then the next test is exercise or dipyranoid. In this test, there is administration of radioisotopes such as thallium or technetium is injected into the blood vessels of the patient. The viable myocardium cells extract the radioisotope from the blood. No radioisotope uptake means no blood flow to the area of the myocardium. Means no uptake of thallium shows that this part of the myocardium has ischemia because of the exertion, that the patient has stable angina. But if the patient cannot tolerate the exercise, the next option is give the patient dipyridamole. This dipyridamole is basically a vasodilator and it takes place of the exercise. So this is dipyridamole myocardial perfusion scan instead of exercise myocardial perfusion scan. So dipyridamole is basically a coronary vasodilator. It causes the coronary systemic vasodilation. Due to further vasodilation, there is less extract of this thallium to the this thallium to the myocardium. So this dipyridamole can be used instead of exercise if the patient cannot tolerate the exercise. The next test is exercise or dobutamine echocardiogram. Test is basically performed before and immediately after the exercise. The exercise induced ischemia is evidenced by wall motion abnormalities, that is akinesis or hypokinesis, that is decreased motion of that part of myocardium which is non-viable. It is checked by this echocardiogram and it is more sensitive to the other stress test. In place of exercise, if the patient cannot tolerate the exercise, dobutamine can be used. This dobutamine is basically a positive inotropic drug and increases the heart rate and increases the contractility, so increases the oxygen demand of the heart. So in place of exercise, dobutamine should be injected into the patient and then perform the echocardiogram. This echocardiogram is basically shows the motion wall of the myocardium, and if it is decreased myocardial wall motion, and then it shows the ischemia. The other very important test is coronary angiography. This contrast is injected into the coronary vessels to visualize any stenotic lesions. This defines the location and extent of the coronary artery diseases, and this depends on this coronary angiography, that which intervention should be given to the patient, whether the percutaneous intervention or the CABG, that is coronary artery bypass grafting, should be performed in the patient. So this was whole about the investigations and clinical presentation of stable angina. We will discuss the management in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this video.